Welcome to the Limerick Post Show with me, Meghann Scully. I'm delighted now to be joined by President of LIT, Vincent Cunnane. How are you keeping?
Meghann, very well. A little bit of trepidation since we are welcoming back students, but yeah, very well.
It's a very unusual time now. What date was it that you had to first close your doors due to COVID-19?
I think it's March the 12th or so. We got the call to say that we would have to go from face-to-face to an online activity, and that was quite a traumatic, but we dealt with it, I think, exceptionally well. And the outcomes further later in the year in terms of the how we transitioned to online, the online examinations and all the processes internally and all that, we're very happy with the outcome as we closed out academic year 2021. And in fact, we did a student survey, and we're part of an international student survey. And we had some close on 1,200 of our students completed that survey.
Right.
And would you believe that 76% almost of those students said that they were satisfied or very satisfied with what came to pass from March. So it's very reassuring that what we did was appreciated by the students, but it was also pertinent for them.
It's absolutely wonderful. And I think that, I guess when it happened 6 months ago now, we were all told this could be going on for the next 6 weeks. So I'm sure every educational institute in Ireland thought that maybe after 5 or 6 weeks, you'd be preparing to go back into the classrooms and the lecture halls. But obviously, lo and behold, that didn't happen. So I think it was a huge scramble for teachers, lecturers, for yourself, for every institute to have to suddenly adapt, at a very quick pace for all your students. How did you find everyone responded to it?
Look, it was phenomenal. I guess I suppose one of the things about LIT and the staff here across the entire board is we're very student centric. So if we put the student at the center of it, what does the student need? What's the student feeling? And if you do it in that manner, as opposed to what does the institute need? And I think the staff responded in being very, as always, in being student centered. And that's why we got the sort of outcomes that we did get. The responsiveness of staff across the board was phenomenal. They were very innovative. It's not this institution that hopefully listens to its staff, and they were coming up with ideas, and we were trying to then absorb them and get them done at a more institutional level.
And as we said, here we are 6 months on, and CEO offers coming out. The Leaving Cert results have all been handed out across Ireland, and you sent us that lovely video, which we're going to show at the end of this interview. And LIT is ready and waiting. Can you tell us what changes are now in place?
Oh, Meghann, it's been, I suppose, in relation to our online delivery, we have over that period of time, over that 6 months, we've obviously increased our IT capacity, servers and the sort of support structures and systems. We've upgraded them significantly. The training of staff has gone on in parallel with that. But the physical, if you come into any LIT campus now, you will see immediately that it's different. The number of yellow signs that tells you what to do. The social distancing signs, now the mandatory face wear masks, and so it's very physical. And you'll see stations, hand sanitation stations, at various junctures. I think we've put in 500 sanitation stations. Wow. Which includes from alcohol dispensers to hand washing, which is still the most effective way of dealing with things. And a variety of other activities, but there's a lot of perspex separators and other types of separators, and so you enter and you realize immediately something is different, and that's all this signage, and then you see the physical separation: walk on the left, keep left, numbers on doors that tell you how many people can actually be in this room. So when we say we're ready, we've been adapting the place really since March, and we're underway now with the first students back since on the 14th, and look, we're in the game of risk mitigation.
Yeah.
We're in the game of combining the best of two worlds: the blended world or the online world and the face-to-face. So we're bringing students in not for that online experience. We're bringing them in for that face-to-face experience, that practical learning, that skills-based, that professional training. So we're marrying the best of both those worlds. So our students will be on campus for a minimum of 1 day per week.
Okay.
Probably a maximum of 3.5 days. We were not combining online and remote teaching alongside the face-to-face. They're separate days. And look, we believe we're ready, but the test will be when we're fully, up and running, sort of thing.
I think as well, I suppose for the current students, they're the ones who are going to notice the real change, because the ones that have been the last few years will be used to going in and out every single day, will be used to seeing the corridors full, lectures full, the canteen, and they won't be used to the signage and the sanitized stations much. But the first years, those who got their places in LIT, it'll be I suppose a new experience for them. And I suppose they'll be able to maybe adapt a little easier because they won't have known what it was like previous. What advice would you have though for the first years coming in, for all the newbies starting out there, I suppose their third level experience, which obviously is a lot different for the way it was for all of us?
Yeah, look, we're going to put, first and foremost, we've got a big emphasis on the first years, because as you say, Meghann, this is new for them. I mean, it was always going to be new. And it's a transition into higher education, and they're adults now. One of the things I would always say to the students, I meet all the first years. Traditionally, I've met all the first years, and I'll be meeting them virtually, and I suppose, but I'll be saying the same things. As of now, you're an adult, and we're going to treat you as an adult, and that's the relationship. And you're responsible for your own learning as well. We'll guide you and help you and all that. So there's that transition in itself. Now there's this transition into this blended side of things. But that's why we made the decision to bring every student onto campus every week, so that we can establish those sort of relationships. They can get the look and feel of things, the services that are available, the library, and make that transition, which will be harder for them. Absolutely, because it's not an easy transition anyway.
Yeah.
From a second level type of where you're teacher led, and whereas now you take responsibility for yourself, and that personal responsibility, Meghann, is something we're really bringing to the fore through our new charter, our COVID-19 charter, with the students. I can talk about what LIT is going to do for the students and staff, but what are you going to do for LIT? And that's equally as important, that we will get through this if everybody takes personal responsibility, mitigates their own risk, and by so doing, they'll help the collective. And that's really what we're trying to do as well. But the assimilation of our first years is a big issue, and it's something we take very seriously, and we're going to have to do more and more to try and get them into the new ways of doing things.
Absolutely. I think you said there now as well how, the onus is on all of us to kind of do our part. And I suppose for students coming in, and I know from being a student, a huge aspect of college life is the social life, which obviously they're not going to get to experience for quite some time, the way that we all used to, going into Limerick City at night time to various locations and having all these, student parties. So I guess now it's a big ask telling the students, look, try not to be gathering in big numbers, no house parties, just for a while, and hopefully come 2021 they can pick up where they left off and get to experience that side of things. But for now, they really have to take responsibility when they're on campus and off campus.
Yeah, and the worst thing can happen now is that that we have to close down, we have to shut down. Now we're prepared for that, and we have protocols in place if that has to happen. But if we could avoid that at all costs, it would be fantastic. But me saying something and asking something is very different from actually people enacting that and doing it. So I have asked, and I will be asking, and continuously asking for that level of personal responsibility, because LIT will have students for maybe 6 to 8 hours or whatever on the days that they're in here.
Yeah.
But what happens in the rest of that day? what happens that evening? What happens, in the days that they're doing their blended learning, their online remote teaching? I can't have responsibility for them then. So it is that ask of think of yourself first and foremost, in the sense of safety and risk mitigation. But in so doing, what are you doing? You're helping everybody else.
Yeah.
You're helping all your fellow students. You're helping the staff trying to teach you and lecture to you. And so it's about the collective. And if we think in terms of the collective, we can all get through this. And look, people are used to wearing masks now. It's mandatory here in LIT, unless you have a medical condition, and then that has to go through the nurses. But there's a minimum of a face visor, and that's a minimum. People are responding to this. It's becoming second nature. But we have to control numbers across all of the institutions. So it's not a case of going across and saying don't stop doing that, stop doing that. You've got to embed it in yourself. You've got to think about those things. As for the student life, it will be different in the first phase. But I think the skills that students will learn through this online blended type of approach are the skills that they're going to need for the future anyway.
Absolutely.
So what the first thing I would say is, because there's been a question, in the last weeks or so, like, should I defer and, wait for the next year? But as I've been saying, what's the alternative? You can come in here and start that professional journey. You can come in here and learn those new skills that you're going to need long into your future career. Or, the number of part-time jobs is not as prevalent. You can't travel to other countries as you would like to do in that traditional gap year. And for students, as the winter comes in, the alternatives, are limited.
Yeah.
So I would advise everybody to accept the offers that LIT has given out to you, whether they're round one or round two. Come and start your professional journey. We are as ready as we can be, and we're going to look after you. But we need you to look after us as well. And together, we're going to have a different but very rewarding experience. And you're going to learn, and you're going to start that professional journey. And by Christmas, hopefully, it'll be a different world. By the next term, we might be back to normal, and there might be more ability to interact more closely. We'd all like to be back, listening to concerts and music, but it will happen. It will happen. So this is time limited. I think the only thing we could say probably now, Meghann, is whatever it is, we're going to have a solution to COVID over a period of time. That period of time is unknown, but the students that are coming in here will have the normal experience at some point in the course of their journey. I'm just asking them now to think that that's not what we can do for them now, but to start that journey. And we'll look back on this, in a year or so and think, wow, that was something else, wasn't it? But how we got through it is testimony to the staff and students of LIT. And, it had its own rewards at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. We all work together. We'll hopefully get through this sooner rather than later. Vince Cunnane, President of LIT, thank you so much for chatting to us, the Limerick Post Show, and the very best of luck with the academic year. And we look forward to seeing all the students, not just around the campus, but coming around the city as well, because they bring such a zest to Limerick City and County.
Meghann, thanks very much for your time.
We are ready.
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 We are ready. We are ready.
We are ready.
We are ready. We are ready.
We are ready.
We are ready.
No, we are ready.